Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Jackie and welcome to my channel, Leisure Reads. So it is finally December. This is one of my all-time favorite months. I absolutely love the holiday season and just the spirit of giving. So I'm excited that we have finally closed the month of November and are getting into one of the best months of the year. So November was a bit of a slow month for me. I managed to read only 4 books. Part of this was due to a book hangover from one of the books that I read this month. The first book I read this month, I was really excited to finally check off my TBR, and that is Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl. I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I did really enjoy it. It is something very different from anything I've ever read before, and I can't tell you too much about it, or I think it will blow the experience for you. But this book follows our main character, Beatrice, who gets stuck in this kind of Groundhog Day-esque situation where she is forced to repeat the same day over and over again. This is a really interesting book. I don't know what I would classify it as far as genre. It is kind of a mystery suspense book. It is really hard to put your finger on. It is a young adult book that is incredibly intricate and interesting to kind of experience this Neverworld that Marisha Pessl has created. If you guys have read the book, please leave comments down below telling me what you guys thought of this book. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was interesting and definitely something that I don't think I've ever seen done before in a book. Marisha Pessl is definitely somebody to watch out for. I've really enjoyed 2 of the books that I've read so far by her, and I have the first book she ever wrote, Special Topics in Calamity Physics, on my shelf waiting to be read. The next book I read this month was one that I picked up at the beginning of the month at a wonderful used bookstore I found when I was on vacation. It was so large that it had a map that you would grab when you first entered the store that would kind of show you your way around. And while I was perusing the shelves, I came across this book that I had heard widely talked about on YouTube, and Cindy from Read with Cindy highly recommended it, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up for $3, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I absolutely adored this book. I gave it a full 5 out of 5 stars. It deserves every single one of them. This is the book that gave me the book hangover, preventing me from reading any more than 4 books. I found it incredibly hard to move on from this book, and while I was reading it, I did not want to put it down. This is a fictional story of Evelyn Hugo, who was a famous actress in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and decided to leave acting in the 80s. She is now in her 70s or 80s and has finally decided to open up and tell her life story. This is an amazing story that is diverse, rich, and wonderfully written. I had heard so many good things about this book that I was very skeptical going into it, and I never really decided to read it until Cindy highly recommended it. So I went ahead and picked it up, and I fell in love. I did not want to put this book down. I was reading it pretty much every night when I would get home from work and I had time to read. I ended up laying in bed Thanksgiving morning, finishing this book, and bawling my eyes out, smiling with happiness, and just feeling all of these emotions wrapped up in one. It is wonderful. If you read this book, please share your thoughts down in the comments below. I would really love to hear what you thought of it. And if you have not read it, please consider picking it up and giving it a chance. The final book on my list, I technically finished in December, but I read like 80% of it on November 30th, so I decided to go ahead and include it in this wrap-up, and that is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So I am reading this book for the Grishalongathon that is hosted by Kat from Paperback Reads and Cindy from Read with Cindy. I decided to go ahead and start this book early because it takes me a little bit longer to get through books, and I wanted to be able to get through the entire trilogy before the live shows where we discuss the books. So I went ahead and started early along with Cindy, and I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. The writing in this book is pretty simple, which allowed me to read through it pretty fast, which is really great for me because I don't read a ton of fantasy. So being able to pick up this book and read it pretty simply but still enjoy it was really great, and I wasn't quite expecting it to be so easy for me. But I have to say, definitely the best part of reading this book was being able to talk with Cindy about it. We were messaging each other on Twitter as we were going, and she was reading it faster than I was, so getting her texts like, oh my god, wait for page 195, would really inspire me to keep reading, and it was a lot of fun. By the time I would hit that page, I would be so excited and completely floored with what would happen, so I would reach out to Cindy, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to talk with her about this book as I was reading it. That was a lot of the reason that I really highly enjoyed this book, but it is a good book. It is fun. It is just your standard chosen one story, so that is a drawback. But ultimately I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it is a fun read. It is enjoyable. So definitely, if you have not read this book, consider joining Kat and Cindy with the Grishalongathon. I will leave a link in the description below to that video so you can go and see what they have to say about it. But that is the final book I read in November. So moving forward in the month of December, I don't have a ton of books planned out that I want to read. This is just kind of my break period before January, which is when everything picks up and it starts to get a little bit crazy. However, in December, I am, like I said, participating in Grishalongathon, so I will be reading Siege and Storm along with Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I am already about a third of the way through Siege and Storm, and I am still enjoying it. So look out for my thoughts on these books in my December wrap-up. Other than that, I don't have really anything set for December reading. I'll probably just pick up books as I go. I don't typically set a TBR because I'm very much a mood reader and just kind of pick up whatever I feel like reading at the moment. However, in January, I am starting A Song of Fire and Ice read-along. That is being hosted by Becca from Becca and the Books. And I am also joining the Hungeralong readathon hosted by Rhiannon from Crescent Reads. So I am excited for that. I also have some videos that are going to take a little bit longer to film. Hopefully I should be starting those pretty soon. I have them all outlined. I just need to actually get to it. So maybe I'll try working one of those into December as well, since it's kind of a slower month for me. In conclusion, things are happening. I'm excited about them. And hopefully I can finish everything in the allotted time, because I kind of suck at that. So I will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter. The links are in the description below. I hope to see you guys again soon, and in the meantime, make it a great day. Bye!